God, your commentary is excellent. You said tall glass of shut up juice. You are the brownest white man on the planet, by the way.
Well,
like what you are.
Others
like,
have charged that.
Yeah, it's just so funny that you deserve a tall glass of shut up juice is the most like, listen, pal, not the time, bucko ass take that you could have here.
You know why? Because I'm an American.
Yeah, you just deployed that shit, dude. You deployed it so hard
For a second.
and it worked. You shut the f- up.
Well, that's what the tall glass of shut up juice is for.
Yeah.
And let someone who knows what they're
Not if
doing.
you're
So
gonna
right,
personally
Piers.
attack
You're
me.
so right.
So-
We're so
Make any
unified right now.
point you
Okay.
want.
So-
I will not sit here and stand
So-
for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't boost your
Blasphemy
ego
against you?
by
Who the hell are
attacking
you?
me
Are you
like
Blasphemy? What a fucking insane thing to say about your demonstrably failed political method. Where's the key when you jiggle the keys?
That's later. You know, that actually didn't make the viral clip, which is really funny because
Yeah.
I thought that might do it. Because in the
Elections
middle, as he was talking,
have
do you have it?
Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah. They pulled it out. Real.
previously worked as pragmatic decision making on whether or not the White House party has governed well enough. And then my analysis is based upon what's changed, what's shattered the pattern of 160 years of history. So I have a base for my
Full bad to you? God, Piers is such a piece of shit. Oh my God.
He knows what's good TV.
Oh my God. He is such a dickhead, dude.
analysis. I'm not just doing Monday morning quarterbacking. Cenk, you need to learn some manners.
I brought him back. Jingle jangle. Jingle jangle.
Damn, she got
So-
1.2 million views, dude. Goddamn.
Your act is getting really thin.
I mean, brother, I said what was going to go wrong. It did go wrong. I was right. You were wrong in this election spectacularly so with your so-called keys. And now you come and tell us not the Monday
And
morning
unlike you, I'm
quarterback?
willing to admit when I'm wrong.
Are you ever going to learn?
Unlike you.
Why I actually do that all the time. Anyway, look, they're gonna bring this. So first of all, for now, leave poor Alan Lichtman alone, right?
Yeah.
He's just a civilian, whatever. Who cares? Like, I don't know if it's true that people are swatting or doxing him. That's crazy. Why would you bother with a professor who got it wrong?
Yeah.
That's like totally irrelevant. Now, but they're gonna bring him back in 2028. And more
Oh, yeah.
accurately, they're gonna bring him back in 2027 during the primaries.
Yeah.
They're gonna primaries.
They're
If
gonna
we
bring
have a
him.
progressive populist and they have like their corporate douchebag.
No, they're
they're
gonna
gonna be
bring
like,
him-
oh, the keys.
No, they're gonna bring him back to talk about how Pete Buttigieg, Josh Shapiro, and gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom are the three top contenders. Maybe throw Kamala in there for a spicy people. I think her political career is done.
Oh, can I tell you why they're doing that? So people are now talking about, oh, Kamala Harris might run again, like 41% of Democrats or something. I didn't see the poll, but saying that they might vote for her. Number one, they're
we're
saying
cooked.
that because she's famous and she just ran. So that's not a reliable number. But the interesting part is they always say that somebody might run. Like for a while, they put out a rumor after Hillary Clinton lost that Chelsea Clinton might run. They do it themselves. Why? It's to increase their market value. Because listen,
Clinton.
I know. Because if Kamala Harris says she's not going to run again, well, then her book is less interesting. She gets less for her speeches because she's not going to be. Right now, though, if she says I might run again, she might be the future president of the United States. Even if it's a 10% chance, 20% chance, the Goldman Sachs and Raytheon, et cetera, are all going to pay her for huge speeches. The book is going to sell more, et cetera. You're more marketable if you say you might run again. That's why they literally do it as a business tactic. So she's not going to run again. I got a bold prediction for you guys. Head of USC, president, dean, whatever of USC at some point, because she doesn't want any piece of this. She's so nervous.
She's not very good at this.
She's not
as
good
we
at it. She
found out.
doesn't want to do it.
As we found out in 2019, and once again, this time around as well.
Yeah, she's got no business running. She didn't want to run. She sucks at it. All she has is talking points. That's why we said do a real primary. But of course, all the Democratic leadership yelled, no real primaries. We anoint.
In the interest of fairness, this is where I also was. Well, I'll explain my position, but I also said that I think the open primary process would spell chaos and disorder for the Democratic Party, especially so close to the actual election.
Let's just break it down one by one. You agree that Biden should have withdrawn a year and a half ago?
I agree that Biden should have picked a better VP candidate that he knew was going to be the transitional.
Can we also like give the right wing a tiny bit of credit here? I mean, they go too far when they say she's just a DEI hire. She was the Attorney General of California. She was a senator from California.
She had the
but
she had
was
the
she
bona
picked because
fides.
she was a black woman? Of course, she was picked because she was a black woman.
I mean, Biden said that was the real reason why she not only picked. I'll take it one step further. It's not even Kamala Harris that frustrates me about that. It's the fact that Biden said that about Ketanji Brown Jackson, who literally is more deserving of a Supreme Court appointment than most of the other Supreme Court justices, and he still f***ed the bag up by turning around and being like, "Oh yeah, I'm picking a black woman, Jack," and it was fucking nutty because like that's the first time we've had a public defender sit on the top court. Like that was not a DEI hire in the way that conservatives mention it.
So, do you know that I'm against affirmative action? I've always been against affirmative action. And
Wait,
the reason,
really?
Yeah, and the reason
I did not know that.
Yeah, the reason is because Ketanji Brown Jackson is an excellent Supreme Court justice who's perfectly qualified. So is Sonia Sotomayor. But the minute that any minority, by the way, including us, gets any position of power, respect, etc., what does everybody do? I just got it because they're black. They just got it because they're this.
No, I think that's
and you think that's just a right wing thing, but it isn't. It
No,
gets
no,
into
no, no.
everyone's head.
No, I understand where you're coming from, but I respectfully disagree. I think that is like ultimately caving in and capitulating to right wing framing on the issue. The affirmative action conversation has always been a band-aid solution to like significantly more consequential racial dynamics in this country that have never been addressed at all. And I've always looked at things from a class position regardless. And like the real affirmative action is legacy admissions.
100%.
Like,
we even have a petition on tyt.com to end legacy petitions, because if you're against affirmative action, you have to be against affirmative action for super rich dudes whose dad went to Princeton or gave Princeton $1 million. Okay.
Yeah. George W. Bush going to Yale, you know?
Yeah, that's
He didn't
totally
fucking deserve
bullshit.
to go to
And by
Yale.
the way, you know who else was an affirmative action pick? Joe Biden. Because
Yep.
Obama picked him because he was an old white guy. He's
Yeah,
like,
old
I don't
racist,
really care.
old racist white guy who
By
has
the
like
way,
gas.
you know that with absolute certainty, because in his final list, he had a big list in the beginning, but in the final list, it was only old white men, because they knew they had to balance the ticket because it was a young African American. So let's not pretend that they didn't pick on demographic information.
No, but
Obama did, and so did Biden.
Yeah, but also it doesn't work in that direction regardless, because like obviously the underlying sentiment is that like affirmative action is not the reason why people think black people are undeserving of their position in society. They already thought that, and now they're using affirmative action to continue to compound on that argumentation.
But it does compound, and I hate that it compounds because it's not true.
I'm more like the process itself in terms of like affirmative action in general, albeit is still, like I said, not a good solution to systemic racism and inequality that persists, and black people being consistently underserved in American society even now.
Yeah,
even when I recognize that, it's still not like anything that moves the needle in an appropriate direction is fine. Like I don't have an issue with it, especially if it's like, for example, making colleges more diverse in general. That's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Like these are some of my most like rad lib takes, I would say, but I do think that actually makes it a better learning environment in general. For the first time, you're actually encountering and developing interpersonal relationships with people that you otherwise never would have.
So,
and
yeah.
I think that makes for a better learning environment.
So two things about that. Look, as you were talking, I came up with an analogy here. Let's see how it goes. I view affirmative action as kind of a counterproductive Band-Aid on a wound. So the right wing says the wound doesn't exist. No, I think the wound does exist. I just don't think that the Band-Aid is
Brave.
the right solution, right? Because what the Band-Aid is doing is it's covering up the wound and not letting it breathe and not letting it heal.
You're a bit of an accelerationist
Okay, so
in that regard.
well, it's a very different accelerationist.
No,
And
but
so,
that is
but I'm
what-
not trying to accelerate racism. I'm trying to end racism.
That's what pure Marxist-Leninists say about the welfare state.
Okay.
It's a
not interested in
Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid continuation of like.
Yeah, but they're wrong. That's a completely different topic.
Okay, I'm just saying.
So, I got you. So, but in this case, so constantly reaffirming and reaffirming, we should think about race. We should think about race. We should characterize everyone on race. that doesn't help defeat racism. It perpetuates racism. So I think it's a terrible idea. I hate that we view ourselves separately based on different categories, race, gender.